Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Darcy here and I'm continuing on with Academagia. Now, where last we left off, we just finished... Wow, that music is loud in my head. I hope it's not loud for you. It shouldn't be. I've done some audio balancing to make sure that doesn't happen, but wow. I'll note that in the event I ever get bored of this music, I can always replace it with other things. But for now, I think this will do very nicely. Anyway... Where last we left off, we had just finished Gera's letter, and we're about to actually go to school and play this game. So let's do so. Let's validate our orders. And note, this is our planning screen. It is quite important, as you might guess. Now, first day here is Juvenalia. That is our first day of school. So, let us figure out what we want to do on our first day. And note that the actual first day festivities are going to happen no matter what we do, so there's no need to worry about that. And you'll note we have a whole set of potential actions. There we go. A set of, well, we don't know any spells. A set of, well, we don't have any items. And a set of abilities. You can see all sorts of things depending on what we care to do with our time. Now, because of the incident, we'll have to burn off some stress, which we will do by... There are a few things we can do. We can use the athletic fields to just train, and that reduces our stress. We can go get food, which also reduces our stress and increases skills. And we could also just rest in bed, which is guaranteed to reduce all of our stress to 0, increase our vitality to max, but does nothing else. I think that because we have 2 stress, and I don't think we have any better options to remove 2 stress at this time, we will just train. That will be our first action. It's not super useful for us with our strength and fitness of 1, but, you know, maybe Fitzwilliam can get swole. I don't know. Our second action, I think, will be to train. And I'm going to set this to adventure, mostly to look at the adventures we have available. I want to try to do adventures pretty regularly, since there are many of them. But that said, there's, at least in the beginning, a bunch of skills that I'm going to want to get up early in order to use them later on. For instance, social skills, study habits, test taking. Those are all practical and useful. Like, for instance, right now, we do know how to befriend people, but our odds of befriending someone is essentially 0, because we know none of the skills that are required to make someone our friend, because we are that socially awkward. I feel bad for Fitzwilliam here. That is sad. Anyway, so we'll do this for now, and note that this is not a final option. We click this, and then this gives us a set of things we can do. You have an option of where you want to do a thing, which you may or may not be able to change. Unsurprisingly, you have to go to the athletic fields to use the athletic fields, funnily enough. But most other actions that are not limited to a specific location can be done wherever, and you'll note that each location has its own benefits. So for instance, if we go to the Great Hall, we get a 10% bonus to befriending people, for instance. Or if we go to the Great Hall, our spy still increases, or if we go to the admissions office, we can slander people better. Apparently admissions officers are very good at slander. I didn't know either. So right now, I think we'll just go to the Great Hall, or the Great Hall entrance. I don't think it really matters, but I want to go outside of my room because I'm pretty sure that you have a reduced chance to get random events if you're just hanging out in your room, which makes sense. Now, what will we train? I think first we will train study habits. Study how to study. It seems reasonable enough. And I'm pretty sure as they get that up, we'll get different options to improve our skills faster at usually some skill check or cost. There's one in particular I'm looking forward to in the event we get it, called... what is it? There's one that reduces your maximum stress by 1 in exchange for 2 study skill in a given subject that is very strong. because it doesn't actually give you stress, it just reduces the amount of stress you can have for a couple of days. It's not really much of a trade-off at all for much faster study habit skill growth. Anyway, if we look at the potential adventures we can get up to, there are many. Of these, I'm not sure. Well, we can start with scenes from the dialectic class. That sounds like a nice way to start the day. Let's figure out about logic, about Hegel. What can we learn from the George Friedrich Wilhelm Hegel? I think it's that. I may be wrong. I may have butchered that. I forget all of Hegel's first names. Anyway, I am going to validate this and begin the day. Actually, we should probably do the dialectic class. We don't even know about the dialectic classroom yet. Oh well. We will. One of the things we learned about in the first day is... yes, dialectic class. We have good old Professor Sido. You'll note, we could go have tutor us. He's a very chill guy who has a lot of fun with his job and knows many languages. So, he's having fun in class. Honors here. Honors Plafox is enamored with Professor Sido. She likes grandeur and poetry, and always carries a journal. Young Jane Austen. Maybe. And more conversation. What is the point of the dialectic? And all sorts of questions being asked. Asking questions by arguing. That is the point of the dialectic. Thank you, Kurt. So, easy enough. Yes. Basic description of what the Greek dialectikos actually meant. One person takes a position, the other person takes the opposite position. And so, we get a first-hand example from someone who clearly read their Platonic dialogue. Sadly, we have not. So, we get asked, what is truth? And we have many answers. All of them are bad. So we can say, the most accurate description of a thing. Boring, low energy, also wrong. What you say when you can't think of a good lie, hilarious. A higher principle and an ideal. You'd think, Plato would be into that, but no. I mean, you could say the form of the good, truth is a... But sadly, Fitzwilliam does not interpret it this way, and instead gets into an argument about the gods, which it doesn't end well. We can take the Thrasymachus approach and say, well, it's like justice in that it's the will of the stronger. Whatever I say it is. Or just stare blankly at him. We will not do this. We will give a dumb answer. We will say that the truth is... we're a researcher who likes filing. I feel like the low energy, also wrong answer of just, it's the most accurate description, seems to be most fitting for us. So, validate. So begins the dialogue. So if I say that this man has... that's not a man, that's a girl. I apologize. The current regent of Durham College, which we don't go to. So yeah, what if I misremember a thing? And you say, well, maybe there's a distinction between the truth and telling the truth. But if you have this distinction, then there's a problem. You see, what if you lie? What if your intent is wrong, but your actual end result is true, huh? Then you got a problem. Because by that distinction, you're saying you're lying. But you're lying by saying a true thing. That's weird. That doesn't make any sense. And so, Fitzwilliam, in short, gave a dumb answer. Very sad. And on realizing this, Sido, by not being as rude as Socrates, is willing to just lay off and realize, let us wallow in the fact that we gave a bad answer. And so, we get a random event. We have a check. A smallish rock dog has wrapped its wide mouth around your shin. Apparently, this dog is terrifying to Fitzwilliam, which makes sense because he chose a cat as a familiar, even if it is the greatest cat known to man, Rufus Felix Northbridge. Anyway, we have many options. We can ask one of our friends who we don't have, to pull it off. We can try to make an animal husbandry check to poke it in the eye. We can make a glamour roll with... we don't even know what glamour is. Or we can just take a pure luck roll. We do have a pure luck stat. I believe, yes, it's under raid. We have a pure luck of 1. Now, these colors do matter. Essentially, skill checks are color-coded in this game. If a skill check is green, that means it is guaranteed to succeed. If a skill check is purple, that means it's essentially guaranteed to fail, but can't if you just get lucky, if your luck stat and your pure luck stat are good enough. Red means that it's more likely than not to fail, and black means that it's a coin flip. There's also blue, which is more likely than not to succeed. So given all of these options, we have this here, which is coin flip chance to win, but noting that poking the evil dog that has your leg in a death grip with your wand could have disastrous consequences if you mess up. So that's a thought, you know. Easier chance of success, but probably worse consequences if you fail. We can try to cast a glamour spell, which we don't know, in an entire magical discipline we have never heard of before. Probably not a great idea. Or we can just hope that we're lucky. I think I'm going to take the 50-50 shot. I probably shouldn't, but given what could possibly go wrong? Yeah! Nice. So that actually was successful. We passed our animal husbandry roll with our no animal husbandry skill. I think. Unless it's under zoology. I don't see it anywhere. So, we poked it in the eye, and it let go, and tried to bite the hand, and we got it. Very nice. I'm proud of you, Fitzwilliam. That was elegantly handled. And so, at the end of the day, we get our first day festivities, and we meet a mentor. Owen. Owen sung from the far-off land of Seon. Where is Seon, you may ask? It's on the edge of a volcano. But yes, she is a very neat mentor. She is a third-year student who has just decided to help us. And I think we will, in fact, accept our mentor's help. Because there's no reason not to. And she's going to tell us some things which I think I've already talked about. That study habits, social skills, school survival stuff is very important. And also, she knows about Wickham and that time we tried to punch Wickham in the face. That time in the yard with supposed enemy friend, but actually deep rival. Anyway, yes, she is our mentor. And because she was the best mentor from her second year, she has had the opportunity to do it again, because she likes it. And she was asked by Dumbledore himself. Legate Orsi. Orso Orsi, that's a great name. Fastidious man. And because of this, she makes this offer to us, and we will accept. So, let's go to the Great Hall and talk with Mentor. As we walk to the Great Hall, this beautiful marble building, archways and columns everywhere, gorgeous. And immense, massive, truly, truly massive, dwarfing everything else. Meeting place, study hall, dueling grounds. Yes, there's dueling in this. I actually have never yet gotten into a fight, but now that we have our rival, now that we have Vetor, we may get into a fight, and that will be fun in the event it happens. And yes, Great Hall is also where detention happens. There are several kinds of academic reprimands, and in the event you get enough reprimands, then you go to detention. It's about what you'd expect. Cautions, reviews, and then discipline. Discipline involves detention. Again, this is about what you'd expect, and also our mentor tells us that you can get reprimanded for going places that you technically shouldn't be going to. That exploring, if you get caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, can lead to you being reprimanded by the school establishment, especially if the professor who catches you just doesn't like you, in which case they will do bad things, and I believe that if they like you, they may just let you off. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's how the system works. Anyway... Flaming sword and giggling like a maniac. Also, yes, certain items also can get you in trouble, and that is one of the uses of the stealth skills in the game. Being able to get into places you shouldn't be and carry stuff you shouldn't have. Given you're a first-year student who just learned magic, you probably shouldn't have a flaming sword. Just a thought. Maybe don't do that. Anyway, yes, academic reprimands. Great Hall, designed to prevent mages from doing a hubris. They made it so massive to remind mages that actually they aren't gods. They have godlike power. They're not gods. Don't do a hubris. It never ends well. Anyway, yes, also a reminder of the dragons. Back in the day, when dragon boys like this ruled over mankind. It was a dark time. Anyway, yes, midterms and finals. Midterms you want skill of 5, finals you want skill of 10. And studying and training both important. Now, she's telling us about what I've already told you about skills, that you have different sub-skills. You need to improve several of them in order to improve the actual overall skill. Yes, and also, we have emotions. I know, it's crazy, right? Actually having I don't know what that's like. But anyway, yes, Fitzwilliam can get moody. I know, but brooding dark protagonist getting moody, that never happens. Holy shit. Anyway, we can enter into moods, and these moods will affect our ability to do things, and our stats and abilities. It's something to keep in mind, and we can affect those in various ways. Anyway, because there are 7 houses, there is of course a house cup, and if you've read Harry Potter, you get how this works. You get points, and if you get to the highest point number before anyone else, you get special benefits. They start off being relatively small, but end up being pretty nice by the end, if you care about them. And in order to do that, you can take specific actions specifically to increase your house's point total. It's called Compete, and there's a whole set of skills around doing so. You can also lower your house's total points by doing bad things you shouldn't be doing. Something also to keep in mind. Anyway, now that all of this has been through, now that we have talked about all of this, the Flossfragi, those exploding flowers, which represent the merit of colleges, she asks us, what is Fitzwilliam Darcy's greatest strength to be here at the finest school in all of Illumia? Are we dexterous? Do we like people? Are we lucky? Are we balanced? Are we a thinker? Do we have a memory? And to be honest, looking at our stats, we are actually pretty well balanced. I don't think this answer actually affects the dialogue choice. I think she always says this. Train to your strength of no strength. Thank you. That's like a Zen cone or something. I like it. Anyway, yes, focus on your strengths. Do mentors, go on adventures, request a meeting with a mentor, and we can talk to our mentor once again, once we care to, and she will tell us about more advanced things as we go along in the game. Tell us about friendship, about cliques, about our familiar, and so on. It's very useful, and we will seek to do so probably in a week or so. And now that all this is done, we can see what the actual effects of our day ended up being. So we can see we went to the athletics fields, we increased our skill at competition, we became more competitive, and we reduced our stress to 0. That's all good. Which means we also know something about the athletics class if we end up carrying, which we may. For the moment, I don't think we'll care about this too much, but the biggest thing is our stress is now 0. We also trained, increased our study habits, which means that we can now identify objects for $10. This is very useful because most objects don't actually start off identified, and you need to identify them in order to figure out what benefits they actually give you. And we get little bits of lore as we level stats. And you can see here, resolved, my classes will never be about the learning of facts and figures. They must develop good study habits, which will be useful for the rest of Fitzwilliam Darcy's life. We'll see about that. But study habits, definitely useful. Now you can see... Vernell here wants to be our friend. Apparently we're friends now. Try to befriend. Hang out with one of you. Okay, no. She did not actually befriend us. She just had a chat, and she likes us. She is also athletic. I guess she got the wrong impression from the fact that we did training on the first day, that we are also athletic and have common interests, even though we don't, but whatever. Vernell. Increased relationship. I like it. You can see that a lot of people have tried to compete. That's all good. And also, Carmine here decided to hang out with us, increased his relation to us by 1. And we have increased our knowledge of a bunch of things. We learned about first principles. We increased our relationship with our professor by giving an okay answer to his question, as opposed to just, being mute for the entire class. And we learned about tactics. It's kind of a weird thing to learn about from this, but I'll take it. Tactics. And that is under war. Oh, no, it's not under war. It's under raid. You'd think that would be under war. Huh. Also, why... It says we have skill 1, yet we can't see our... We don't know that tactics exist, but we're good at it. How does that work? It's a hidden skill. Anyway. Now on the first day, we have learned about a few things. Oh, also we got a point of confidence, which means we have confidence 1. Very nice. Or confidence 2. I apologize, this hasn't presumably registered yet. And a point of first principles. Anyway, now, overt. We learned a theme by virtue of our tactics, which we don't know about. Increasing. Don't worry about it. Anyway. First day, we get a bunch of new options that were not available before. We can go to our common room, the Arenaz common room, which increases certain stats while we're there. We learn about certain things. We learn about the Wand and the Brush, which is a store to give us nice things. We learn about the history of Malin Field, which is why we have a quarrel with Durand College, because we think that we should have gotten this honor, and Durand actually got the honor of this battle against the dragons. We learned about all the different classrooms we look at. We learned about the Illumian language, which is basically Mage Latin. The ancient language of magic, which no one uses well, never mind. Never mind, it's used by everyone. What the hell do I know? It's not Mage Latin, it's just Mage language. Well, no, it is Mage Latin, but it's also... It's Mage Latin, in that it's the language of the Old Empire, but it's also used in the modern day, amongst the mage community. We have learned about Marat, not just a revolutionary Frenchman anymore. It's a heretical sect. It's a game. Created by a heretical sect. And we have learned about a couple of other options. We have learned eyes in the back of your head, increasing our danger sense. I'm not actually sure what triggered this, but I like it. We have learned about visiting the spirits, because, as it turns out, Arenaz's common room is haunted. And we have learned about how to release the spirits to ruin someone's life. We may be doing this in the future. We have business to attend to that may be furthered along by the spirits. And we can now identify items, like I said earlier. Now, one of the very neat things about this game, as you might have guessed by these actions, is that when you do 3 actions, so does everyone else in the game. If I look at all of these students, all of these that are not highlighted in a color, all of these students do things too. All of them. Every single one does actions. I personally find that really neat, really incredible. And it does matter, because some of those actions will affect you, like Vernell here trying to become my friend. It is something with which you should be concerned, and may have an influence on you. And as people become your friends, you can also influence what they end up doing, eventually. There's even a control thing. You can take control of... where is it? It's in here somewhere, believe me, that you can do some other neat stuff as well. There we go. We look at control. Eventually, you can either learn some evil forbidden magics to control someone, or if someone loves you enough, you can just do their actions. Plan their schedule and so on. I have not had the opportunity to do that yet, but that is a thing that can be done. Now, this day took much longer than most days will end up doing, so I think that I want to end the video here, and in the future I'll likely try to do about a week of video. But again, there's so much to go through in order to understand how the game properly works that I wanted to make all these explanations beforehand, just to tell you about this game and give you an idea of how everything functions. That's been our first day, and when we come back, hopefully we'll go through this entire first week of classes. Now, take care everyone, and I hope I'll see you next time.